Hey everybody, welcome back to the N&K pod.
What's going on, guys?
We have some really awesome people on today and we're really excited about it. Kevin and I are really big into veteran support, anything we can do to help out veterans. Majority of our friend group are full of veterans, and Kevin is a veteran himself. And today we have Ashlyn from SVA, the Student Veterans Association. And who else do we have from VALOR?
So we also have Robert from VALOR. It's another student organization that Texas A&M University has. One thing I wanted to point out that I didn't know about for a long time is that SVA in general, Student Veterans of America, it's a national thing. It isn't just a Texas A&M chapter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a Citadel chapter. They have little chapters everywhere across the across the nation at all these different universities, which I think is freaking astounding, in my opinion, that there's this huge organization in Washington that houses in Washington, D.C., and we get to be a part of a local chapter here. So I think that's really cool. We're going to be talking about today a lot about what they do. We're going to be talking about what they do as far as getting to veterans and what veterans are really looking for.
That's great.
When they're searching for jobs, when they're searching for getting admitted into Texas A&M University, what other chapters affiliate with them, things like that. I think it's going to be a very interesting topic to talk about.
For sure. Yeah, this is going to be great. Well, guys, welcome to the N&K pod. It's really awesome to have y'all on here. How's y'all's morning going this morning? For those of you that don't know, we're recording this on Saturday morning, and we're really happy about this.
It's going good. Just happy to be here. Got my coffee ready to go.
Oh, we got it too. We're ready.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
But we'll start out with SVA. Just a few quick. Just go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do in SVA? As far as the role in the organization, what do you do, Ashlyn?
Okay, so I'll start out. I'm Ashlyn. So I am the president of SVA at Texas A&M, and I guess, do you want me to introduce myself, my major, and all that stuff, or just go right into SVA stuff?
You can go into SVA. Yeah, you can go ahead and talk about your major. This is all just conversation. Just who is Ashlyn in general? What do you do for fun? You can talk about hobbies if you want. Talk about your major. Talk about if you're passionate about it. If you're not, you don't have to go into your major. You can talk about your branch of service that you're in, things like that, and what you do there.
Okay. So my major is international studies with a focus in communication and media. And I actually am still serving in the Texas Air National Guard. I'm a photojournalist now. So I really like that a lot. And we were activated for coronavirus and just different things happening this past year during school, which was slightly stressful whenever you have school on the line and you're trying to keep that GPA up. But yeah, so basically my role in the organization is just to kind of make sure it runs well, and all the other people that are officers as well, make sure we're getting things done and having a good organization for veterans to be a part of.
Nice. You said you're part of the Air National Guard. I did have a particular question. How do you manage the schoolwork that everyone's having to deal with everything going online, everything going to Zoom, and then a whopping Hurricane XYZ is coming towards Louisiana or Florida, and you get activated?
Yeah.
How do you do that? Because I think a lot of people feel super overwhelmed right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, for me, I know it probably is going to happen at some point or another, so I just mentally prepare myself for that. But yeah, the start of this semester, they're be prepared, we're going to send y'all down for Hurricane Laura. And they ended up sending a lot of people from my unit, and then there's more hurricanes rolling in, so you just have to mentally prepare yourself and let your professors know and they sometimes are very understanding, sometimes not, depending on how nice they are.
Professors, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely an added stress because you're having to think of all the things you have to get done for the Air National Guard while you're doing school, and so it can be a little bit of chaotic.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Real quick question. One more for you, Ashlyn.
Hmm.
How long have you been in the Air National Guard? How much longer do you have left on your contract?
Yeah, so I've been in for 4.5 years, and I have 1.5 years left on my contract right now.
Okay. So, and just out of curiosity with that, because some people would like to know as well, like for the Air National Guard, I know I'm from the Houston area. So from what I know, I think Ellington is mainly like where they go to report and everything. So you in this area, what base do you report to? Do you have to go down to San
So
Antonio?
I'm not in the, there's
Actually,
two
don't
Air
answer
National. Sorry.
I was like, don't answer where you report to.
Oh, yeah. Well, my bad.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Second, no, you're fine.
We'll remove that part. My bad.
I wasn't going to say all that. But yeah, we have two different like bases in Texas, and obviously the one from where you're from and one up in North Texas. So that's where I report up there.
Cool. Awesome. So, Robert, why don't you tell us a little about yourself and what the organization you represent is about with VALOR?
All right. So my name is Robert. I'm one of the peer advisors from VALOR. And VALOR, it's not really like a student organization. It's more of like a program from the Veteran Resource and Support Center we have here at A&M. And so we do a lot of outreach, mainly towards first-year student veterans or spouses, dependents, to try to get them connected to Texas A&M and show them the resources that they need if they need any resources. And I mean, just really here on campus, like, we have a lot of resources for veterans and also just for students in general. And a lot of times there's so many of them, or, you're facing some problems or you need help in something and, you don't even know there's a resource for that. So that's just kind of what we're here for, to point people in the direction so they can get the help that they need, or just get connected to like a community on campus in general, whether it's a veteran community or just a regular student organization.
That's really great. I was actually surprised how many different organizations, well, not organizations, but how much support veterans have here at A&M. Obviously, I don't go to the university, and when Kevin told me he was coming over here, him coming out of the Marine Corps and, told me what he was going to be doing here and was telling me about y'all and everything going on, I was just like,
I was caught off guard myself.
Yeah. It's so awesome that there's the support, especially for everything, some of the veterans have to go through while they're in, to be able to come out and have that sense of community and support, especially at the university they're going to. That's a really awesome thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to point out too, if there's a student veteran who's caught off guard, that there is a veterans resource center with these programs, with these things that we're going to get into exactly what they do for the outreach purpose. But if there's a student veteran coming to A&M who knows, who was born and bred around this university, my family members, if I was caught off guard on it, who's this Joe Schmo who just gets accepted, who comes to Texas A&M or any other university anywhere? They're not going to know a single thing for sure. I mean,
definitely not.
All right, Robert, what is your major? Where did you serve in? What is your job description? Activations, deployments. I want to know a little bit more about you first before we dive into this.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. I was aviation supply specialist.
Simper yet, man.
All right. And that's for what I do. So as supply, we lift heavy things. We just pick up boxes and put them down somewhere else. Sometimes like far away, sometimes it's not. So it just kind of depends on where they want the stuff to, sit down at. I'm a business major right now, and I'm a sophomore. So I think at the end of this year, I'll declare my actual major, and then I'll change it like 10 more times. But right now,
nice.
Accounting. So
well, there you go, man.
Yeah. I might end up as something else in a few years. Yeah.
is there anything that you want to ask prior to like going into specifically SVA and VALOR things that they prepare for?
Well, I guess just a fellow, I'm a business major myself. So just out of curiosity, there's so many different fields in the realm of business and all that. Do you have like any kind of niche you're wanting to go into in business? Anything specific?
Well, I'm thinking about accounting right now, just because I kind of did a little bit of it in the Marine Corps. And then after I started school, I'm like, okay, this is probably not accounting in the real world. So I'm looking into like information systems too, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a really good field. Yeah, really, that's a really good field. It has so many different avenues, so that'd be pretty neat.
Well, awesome, guys. I'm very glad. I'm very glad to have you on here. Nick is very glad to have you on here. This is going to be really good. There's going to be a lot of important information we're about to be pushing out. So, starting with what brought you to Texas A&M, and what do you love about it? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot to love about it. We talk about all these veterans resources. We talk about how awesome it is. What are they?
Yeah.
And
I guess I can go first.
This is collaborative. So this could be, y'all can interrupt each other all y'all want.
I'm going to interrupt you all over, Robert.
There you go. Come on. Bring it on, Ashlyn. Let's go.
Okay. So I initially came to A&M and I wasn't a veteran. I came straight out of high school and I knew nothing about A&M. I had just heard rumblings at my school, and I'm a first-generation college student and military, so I was like, I know nothing. So I came to Texas A&M, and I did like spend the night with the Corps. I ended up joining the Corps my freshman year. I wanted to become an Air Force officer, and I was like, you know what if I don't even like the Air Force? Like, I kind of need to know that. So, and I was also struggling like financially to pay for things, so I just decided to enlist. And then I came back 3 years later, finished out in the Corps of Cadets in Delta Company. And then I've been working at the Veteran Resource and Support Center, but since then. But I guess my favorite thing about A&M is just like the amount of people that just like they just care for you so much, even if they don't know you. They're just always like, oh, howdy, when you're on campus. And then the traditions as well. Like, I don't think I've ever heard of a university honoring students that passed away. We have silver taps and different stuff like that. It's just very humbling experiences that I don't think any other university has to offer.
Yeah, that like, for example, we said with the silver taps and everything, that goes a far way with the families and their friends and everything. Unfortunately, I did have a really good friend of mine that is he went here for all 4 years and unfortunately passed away to cancer last September. And they had a deal up here at A&M for him, and me being back in Houston, and I saw that, and it really meant a lot to me. So those services go far away.
No, I totally agree. I think it definitely shows the families that we care about them and that their Aggie is like never going to be forgotten,
Yeah, definitely not.
It is a very awesome tradition that they have there for that reason. Robert, come on, man. What brought you to Texas A&M? What do you love about it? And I'm sorry if Ashlyn took your reason. Choose something else.
I want that just alongside with silver taps, muster as well. We do that once a year, and whether you're Aggie like currently or if you graduated like years ago, you're always going to be an Aggie. And then you kind of see a lot with the families coming back, like Aggies through their generations, their grandparents, great-grandparents are Aggies or something like that. Yeah, I think that's definitely like a really cool thing to see. Just like a whole family of people coming in and say, oh yeah, I remember, this and that whenever they were here so many years ago. But for me, in the beginning, when I was looking at colleges, right out of high school, I'm like, I really didn't feel like doing it. But then my mom's like, go to college. I'm like, okay. And then I end up in the Marine Corps somehow.
Hey, me too, man. I got sick of Blinn College before, and Jordan said, I'm going to go the complete opposite and go to the infantry. And here I am at A&M. It's like, oh, thank God I did that, because this tuition is expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a funny year. I remember you came up to Boise.
I started in the fall and it was October. I called you and said, I'm leaving. This isn't for me. And then it wasn't but 3 months in the Marine Corps, or actually in the ITB, and I called him back and said, this isn't for me. I'm going back to college once this 4 years is up. And I was like, oh man.
Relatable.
Let's talk about a big elephant in the room. College football, tailgating, what normally happens. What kind of presence does SVA normally have? I know there's a bunch of different student organization tents out there.
Mm-hmm.
Not tailgating this year, but
yeah, so normally tailgating football is super big in Texas, especially Texas A&M football. Spence Park, it's usually packed to the brim with people out there tailgating. They have like TVs out there, crazy stuff. But yeah, SVA, we usually partner actually with, I can't remember their official name, but it's like the Marine Corps Association that the MESEP guys put on. We usually partner with them.
Society, I think is what you're talking about.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they're very active, and so we usually partner with them and do a big tailgate several times throughout the semester. And we usually have a pretty good turnout. And I think last semester we did breakfast tacos and mimosas, and that was good.
That's freaking awesome.
That's how you bring them in. You get the food.
Awesome. Oh, definitely. Yeah, I was shocked the first time I came to a Texas A&M football game. And that was already 4 years ago. I know, which sounds like, wow, just 4 years ago was your first time. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
You're old.
Yeah. And I was like overwhelmed. I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like all the tailgating and stuff going on. There are funnels in the parking lot outside Kyle Field.
Yeah.
So I'm like, heck yeah, man, this place is awesome. So yeah.
Unfortunately, it won't be like that this fall.
No, maybe next year.
I don't think they're having any tailgates at all allowed because of Corona, which makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But football's still happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I'm definitely praying that stuff gets back on track, for sure.
We need some normalcy.
We need to have something to watch. I mean, come on. So, the Veterans Resource Center, we're gonna do a completely other episode later, hopefully with the director and assistant director, and you guys can come in on as well. But I want to do in-person guest things later. But if you want to talk about like a brief overview, what does the Don and Ellie Canals Veterans Resource Center provide in general? We right after this, we'll go into SVA and VALOR specifically, but just other things. Is there a cool place for veterans to come and print their stuff off? Do they have coffee it's somewhere?
Heck
Yes.
yeah,
What
we
kind
do.
of stuff do y'all provide? Let's talk about that so people know about this. We want to tell student veterans, y'all need to go in this Veterans Resource Center because you have a place there. I think that's important.
Yeah, definitely. I guess I'll go first since I've worked here a little bit longer than Robert. So yeah, I worked here for 2 years, and actually we used to be in a very, very small, like packed everyone next to each other like sardines office, and coldest. And then like a year ago over the summer, we moved into the MSC, which next year we'll be moving higher up into the suites. So we'll have even more room then, thanks to like generous support from different people like Don and Ellie Canals, which we just named it in their namesake this summer. So we have a lot of people that support veterans here. And so basically what the Veteran Resource and Support Center does is it provides like a place for student veterans to be able to come study. We have computers in there. You can print out your homework assignments. We have coffee, snacks, like a giant TV in there for you to sit down and chill if you need to take a study break. But not only that, but we also provide different resources like Meals for Veterans, where if you're struggling to provide for your family, you're able to get support in that way. Or like the Aggie Ring Scholarship, which I actually was blessed to get this past April. And I think you're about to get yours, Kevin, right?
I am ordering mine in January.
Yeah, so
your Aggie Ring. I think everyone. It's
so weird. Really exciting.
Say congratulations on getting it. Even 50 years after you had it. Congratulations on getting it.
Yeah, for real. But no, opportunities like that for people and veterans that normally they wouldn't be able to afford to do that, because I know I was like racking my brain on how I was going to be paying for this out of pocket. And so we have like all these different veterans that come back to A&M and put their support in for veterans to be able to have opportunities like that. But Robert, I'll let you explain some more.
That's awesome so far. Yeah, Robert, if there's any other things that you have.
He's like, whoa.
Oh, well, I mean,
wow, he just listed
that's
everything, all my
that's pretty much all the
material.
stuff that-
No,
Yeah.
I left some for you.
Yeah, but I mean, it's in our name, Veteran Resource and Support Center. We have resources and we support veterans here, and not just veterans, but also like our military family as well.
Dependents too.
Yep, and then we do have a student organization on campus as well, Aggie Shields, and I don't want to go too much about them because this is about like VALOR and SVA, but they do have their London library in
It's awesome.
the Veteran Resource and Support Center, and that's kind of where they're based out of. They lend out textbooks to veterans and dependents as well, and that's you're saving money on these books at like $100 a piece a lot of the times, and
Makes a
then
difference.
that adds up pretty quickly when you're buying books like every semester.
Yeah.
Well, I know what's kind of ridiculous. I'm not going to get into it because it's not our forte here, but we'll talk about it somewhere else in another episode. But I think it's ridiculous, in my personal opinion, that people have to buy activation codes to access your homework. You have professors who contract with specific companies, like My Business Course or anything, all of them, or Pearson for the
Pearson,
is for the Spanish courses and things like that.
It's like $100 to just
like,
look
hey,
at
if
it
you
on your
tell all
computer.
your students you have to buy this $100 activation code to access their homework for a semester, we'll slide you a little bit of money here. And I think it really sucks on the back end yet, but let's not go into that.
I was about
College
to get
is
fired up.
expensive.
College is expensive.
Yeah.
All right, Ashley. Actually, I'm going to let Nick take this one because he's the one. I think it would be a really good asset for him to be asking these questions.
Yeah. So actually, like I discussed on our sound check last night, this is a really informative podcast for me as well. Kevin is very familiar with everything, obviously, because he's a part of a lot of this, but I'm not. So I'm actually intrigued. I know you kind of gave a general description of SVA kind of in the beginning and what y'all do, but I would like to really kind of get into the specifics, like the actual day-to-day operations of everything y'all do, the different events y'all organize, kind of the struggles y'all face, support y'all have, maybe support y'all need, anything you'd like to bring to the light and just kind of enlighten myself, our viewers, and just give more information on that.
Yeah, so SVA at Texas A&M is like a regional chapter, but we have Student Veterans of America, which is our national chapter, and it's based out of DC, and Jared Lyon is the CEO and president, I believe, of that. And he's actually really cool. He's come to A&M. He's very supportive of Texas A&M. But yeah, basically we're here to just provide outreach for student veterans, have events that we can all come together, different things throughout the semester to show our support for them. And one problem, or I guess not problem, but a different issue that we have outside of other universities is usually SVA is their like Veteran Resource and Support Center. So we kind of had to restructure the way that we do things to where SVA is kind of an umbrella organization underneath the Veteran Resource and Support Center, which they offer all these things, and then we're there as well to assist them when we need to, and also have further just like different events throughout the semester. Like we partner with VALOR a lot, the Women's Veteran Program that we just formed that like last year, so that's only a year in the running. But yeah, we're here to be like a resource for student veterans outside of the Veteran Resource and Support Center, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It's just like a network. And then on top of that, we share stuff on LinkedIn that maybe people don't realize that the Student Veterans of America offers nationally, like over coronavirus. They had the CARES Act and different programs you could apply for that they're really hardcore, like at Congress, and I'm probably saying that wrong, but in DC advocating for us to
We're trying here.
politics, I don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
that was another question is, what was, a distinct, difference between, SVA and the Veteran Resource Center. But you just kind of explained it. So
yeah, it's like an interwoven relationship.
well, that's really cool though. Here, I didn't know that, that here it's a additional supplemental rather than the only thing that you have. So that's really cool. Definitely. So, well, Robert, with Valor, if you can go in more detail on that. Same thing with what Ashton just explained, but on your side.
Yeah, are y'all pretty much the same thing? Or are y'all completely different? I know y'all.
We're slightly different.
We're slightly
but
different.
It's like the umbrella. Valor is like under the umbrella,
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So with Valor, we're actually a program formed in the VRC. We're fairly new. We officially kicked it off last semester. We kind of have like a test run semester last fall, and we officially kicked it off spring of last year, the Corona semester. So that was pretty interesting.
The Corona semester.
Corona semester.
Yep. And so we try to do like programming. So originally, we do program the VRC. We try to do like professional workshops, which is socials, for social well-being, like financial workshops from time to time. Just try to hit on different things that a student would need. Well, student veteran would need like information and stuff. And after we moved online, it's just kind of weird because, we tried to like transition the workshops to online, socials to online, and it's just weird. And so this fall we had, before every semester starts, we'll have, vet camp, which is all the incoming student veterans. It's kind of like a extended orientation event. And we bring all our resource providers and VRC programs and kind of have like a little exhibit, not like a career fair, but just to show everyone, hey, there's all these resources, on and off campus here for student veterans and families, and just kind of get everyone acquainted with the stuff that we do at school. And so this semester we moved vet camp online for the first time through Zoom, kind of like what we're doing right now. And it's been pretty interesting.
I heard you saying they're running financial workshops. When you say that, are you all meaning like teaching people like basic finances, how to manage money, right, investment, stuff like that?
It kind of depends. I think we did a couple like scholarships and financial aid like workshop. We asked our people at the scholarship and financial aid office to come and talk about, some scholarship stuff, FAFSA type stuff.
Oh, okay.
And just kind of like a more general thing. And it's also to let people know that, we have an office that deals with financial aid and scholarships. And also our VSO, they deal with the benefits and stuff that a lot of our veterans and families use to pay for their school. So,
and we also have a money management office too. I don't know if y'all realize this, but the guy that is over that office, he actually used to be over the veterans office at A&M. His name's Nick Kilmer. I took his class like last spring, and it was so helpful on managing money. And I actually recently bought a car, and that really helped because that was part of the course, was learning how to negotiate and buy your car.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
Interest rate.
Yeah. So that's super cool. I actually have a passion for finance, money management and stuff. And that's actually,
me too.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm a loan officer, but
cool.
I do. Yeah, that's what I do every day. So I have a passion for teaching people about, credit health and financial management.
It's super important.
It's super important. And it's surprising, first of all, that does need to be taught in high school because it's not.
For real.
But
Preach.
Yeah. And it's surprising to me. Well, it's surprising and not surprising. But there's a lot of people, you could be 60 years old and still not be well aware of certain things.
Yeah,
so that's
real.
that's really great that they have that here. And I love seeing stories like that where you're like, hey, I just bought a car and, that course actually taught me how to negotiate. I knew what was going on in the finance manager's office when I was signing the paperwork. That's super cool and super beneficial to a lot of people. But yeah.
Nice. I think you're cutting out, Ashlyn. Robert, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. She'll come back in just a minute. I do have a couple questions. For starters, we were talking about how SVA. Yeah, we were talking about how SVA is like the umbrella, and that VALOR is under the umbrella. Ashlyn, are you here now?
Yes, I'm sorry. My computer crashed and kicked me off. I was like, no.
You're completely fine. You're completely fine. I'm going in and talking about a VALOR question right now. I'm going to ask Robert a few things. So, Robert, like I said prior, so SVA is the umbrella. VALOR falls under the umbrella. What kind of projects is everyone working on? What are we looking at? As far as I know, this semester is kind of rough when it comes to setting up events because there's certain protocols everyone has to follow. You can't even go to a restaurant anymore in a meeting, be like, oh shoot, do we have 6 people? And you have to sit there and count. What you have to call ahead of time and be like, do y'all allow 6? Y'all allow 8? You know, things like that. So what are y'all working on to help student veterans that even if it's not this semester, if it like alludes into next semester, into the spring, what kind of things are y'all looking at? A lot of vets are in the dark right now.
Yeah, so far right now, me and my fellow peer advisors, we're kind of experimenting with different ways to hold workshops and meetings.
Nice.
This past week, we had a time management workshop with the Academic Success Center. So our original plan was to have it like in person. So like in the VRC, like we have like an auditorium, the meeting room type deal. So it holds like a bunch of people, but we can only have up to like 10 in there now for everyone to be spaced out. And so we were planning on doing, 10 people want to come in person, we can have up to 10 people in there, and then everyone else can be on Zoom, and we just have it going simultaneously. But for this past week, no one like showed up in person, so we just had it over Zoom. But we did test out the possibility that if we do have it in person, we can connect Zoom to like the projector screen and then the speakers in that room. So we're able to kind of have a weird merge. It's kind of like how our classes are, being taught right now, which is like the professor sometimes have an in-person class and then they'll like play it on Zoom. Well, not play it.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
like,
I know what we're talking about.
So that's kind of what we're going for as far as like events and stuff goes. And next week we're gonna have a coffee social that's gonna be in person.
Those are always fun.
Like super spaced out, and we're gonna see how in-person events can actually, take place. And
y'all are gonna test the waters is where we're getting at. Like what's the extent of getting in person can we get not without getting in trouble? That's the wrong connotation.
Well, I mean, like it's still within guidelines.
So it's still within guidelines, being respectful, but we're trying to push something here.
Yeah.
I love that. I love you guys that are doing all that.
Yeah, that's a key aspect that hasn't really, I feel like been paid much attention to, is they're so focused on these guidelines and what we need to do COVID wise. But there's a mental toll too on a lot of things for especially certain veterans that are used to the sense of community and everything. So it's really important, and I'm glad y'all are working on getting something back together, because for some people, that's literally something that can bring their life from down here all the way up here and get them back on track with that sense of community. So that's really great.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to specifically ask y'all, I know we have a couple of N&K podsters that I know of that are outside of Texas right now, don't know anything about A&M, anything about what we're talking about.
Oh yeah.
And
they'll say gig them.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, gig them. But what's the Aggie Veteran Network all about? I'm just curious, like if you can explain that for myself, for our viewers. What
this
exactly
one's
is
very
that?
interesting. This one's very cool concept.
Yeah.
Ashlyn or Robert collaborative. I know this thing launched early.
Yeah, the Aggie Veteran Network. Honestly, I never realized coming to A&M how big the Aggie Network is, and then inside that, the Aggie Veteran Network. And it's just crazy, like, how many people you meet. Like, just a few weeks ago, I was on base, and there were some pilots that I never met before, and I was taking photos, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, that Nagy ring," and I'm like, "Yeah," and then it went,
Yeah. Yeah, girl.
then just like their Aggie story and different stuff like that. So it's really amazing to be able to just like see that Aggie ring or see someone that's wearing something A&M related when you're like on vacation or deployed somewhere, just somewhere around the world where you never would expect to meet an Aggie just randomly like that. And you could be complete strangers, but because you have that shared Aggie experience, you're now like your best friend, you know?
I smile every time. I'm smiling on the camera right now because every time I hear a story like that, I'm just like, I freaking know.
Yeah.
Oh, I got another one for you then.
Here we go.
Well,
Come on, Robert.
This is before, I know what this was all about. I mean, even now I'm still kind of figuring out. So this is back in when I was still in the Marine Corps. We have a new lieutenant coming in. He's prior enlisted, and he went to A&M. And, he was walking around the warehouse wearing his like Aggie ring. And at the time I didn't know like what it was all about. So I'm like, why is this dude like wearing his college class ring like in the Marine Corps? That's kind of strange to me at the time. Because I'm just like, why? But now coming here, hearing the stories about the Aggie ring and how people connect the Aggie network, the community, and it makes perfect sense now. You want to like show that off a little bit. Show other Aggies that you care because Aggies help other Aggies and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe y'all may know exactly where this is. Same thing with you, Kevin. But I remember, I think maybe around this time last year, maybe it was closer to the end of 2019. There was, I believe, a Aggie who was fighting in World War II that lost his ring or something over there. I want to say.
Yeah.
Philippines.
I heard about.
We have stories like that all the time. Yeah, keep going.
Apparently someone over there, someone's grandpa or someone, to my knowledge, had that, if I remember right, and someone in his family was coming over here to A&M, and they ended up getting connected and gave the ring back to the family. Unfortunately, the guy had already passed, but his family accepted it on Kyle Field. If I remember right, that was pretty super cool.
There's so many stories like that. Like I've heard so many just throughout the years that I've been at A&M about people their Aggie ring like across the world, and then another Aggie somehow finds it and it gets back to them, and it's just like, it's really cool because I feel like no other university could you expect someone to actually give it back to you, because we have like the core values at A&M, and I can't remember all of them off the top of my head at the moment.
It's just amazing that if they lost something like that there was somebody who maybe wasn't even an Aggie who had a value of that to even know what that was to give it back. I'm sure there's people who go off and sell it or something like that and make money, but there's I haven't
heard that many stories about that though, is what's crazy.
Exactly.
A lot of places people might just like keep it, but it always kind of ends up back in the Aggies' hands,
Right. That's really awesome. I love talking about the Aggie network in general. But what does so I know in the Veterans Resource Center they launched something, to my knowledge, I think it's called AVN.
yes.
If y'all want to shed some light for somebody like Nick, anybody who's not in the Aggie Veteran Network, if we can get people who are not veterans to know what it is, then we can get student veterans on there, participation, things that are going to help them out later down the road. Let's talk about AVN for a second.
You go for it, Robert.
So,
let's go, man.
I mean, it's a platform that we've been doing. So I think this year we launched it on LinkedIn as a platform to kind of like host a group, because we used to have, I'm not sure what it's called, but like you have to log in with your school email and all that. So that was kind of hard for graduated Aggies to kind of get connected back into the platform, the online platform. So now that we're doing it through LinkedIn, whether you're a current student, former student, or if you're like one of our resource partners or something, you can now go onto LinkedIn and get connected to the group. and connect with the student veteran population. And
Nice.
that's like an easier way to connect everybody. So if you graduate like right now, and you don't have access to your school email anymore, you can still be connected to your the VRC people, or just like even future students. If you want to get back sometimes in the future or get connected, it's there to connect everybody.
And the cool thing about it being on LinkedIn also, sorry, I'm going to interject real quick.
Oh, you're fine. Come on.
About it on there is that once you're already in the group, there's so many like Aggies that are on there that if you're in search of a job or something, they post those opportunities on AVN, and then you can automatically like go to your profile and they can look at all the things that you've done. And if you are interested in a certain career field, they can see if you qualify for those things. And they're really like the Aggies helping Aggies thing. They're really like trying to help get you a job and just uplift you in any way they can. Like we had a former SVA president, Kai, and she works for a company based, well, I guess it's in Texas, but it's like a national company called Accenture. And so she's always trying to get Aggie veterans in because she knows that we're very hardworking, and she was in our position, in the past. So they're always trying to help you out with whether it's getting a job or an interview set up, different stuff like that.
Okay. I have a question, and I guess I'll ask Robert on this one. With you not previously coming to A&M or anything before your military service, especially being in the Marine Corps, involved in that culture specifically, switching over, transitioning from being an active Marine into being a college student here at A&M. What was that process like for you? Any struggles? Any kind of wrapping your head around a different mindset, way of living? How was that?
I want to say it's definitely a different mindset. And I had to switch that in the beginning. Now, granted, after I left active duty, like I took a couple years off, just kind of just hang out with family. And honestly, I was looking for a job and just trying to figure out what to do. Because, in active duty, like, what you're doing day in and day out. You wake up, you do this thing, and you go to sleep, wake up, do this thing again. And then, so after that, moving back home, I was like, well, now I have to pick my own direction to go. And, see, in the beginning, I think the summer after I got out, I went to, the Warrior Scholar Project. I'm not sure if y'all have heard of it. But so I got involved. I went to one of their partner schools and did a couple weeks. It's kind of like an academic boot camp. I went to like a humanities week where you read books and stuff and kind of learn tips on how to read books, writing. And then the second week was STEM, where they kind of teach you like sciencey things, how to deal with math classes and stuff like that. And that kind of switched my mindset a little bit from like, I always thought college was going to be like super hard. And so I don't even like think about it. But, after going through that, there was like a little switch that got flipped in my brain. I'm like, oh, this is doable, and you're not in this alone, because obviously there's other people at school, and, here at A&M, there's all these resources to help you out. And that's kind of like the mindset that I came into school with, which is school is doable. There's people to like help you out. There's other students. If anything, you can form study groups and stuff like that. And that's really been the big part of how I'm dealing with school and how I made the transition. I mean, it was over like 2 years, because, once you apply to school, you have to wait for them to get back and everything. And yeah.
I think another thing that we deal, and Ashley can attest to this too, Robert, you're going to have a huge head nod on this. I'm not going to get too far into it because it can go into a conversation that's not in the professional aspect. So I'm going to keep it short. I think one of the biggest things that we see as transitioning veterans going into a college university is that you're so accustomed to staying in your own lane, minding your own business. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, you're you're kind of just, you're fine. Everything's golden, everything's good. And then you step on a college campus and there's a lot of people who say, you're this, you're that, XYZ. And you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just staying in my lane. I'm just like, people interrupt you when you're talking a lot, which you're not used to. They all of a sudden, I don't want to say, I don't want to say a
triggered
moment, but in class, but in classes, seriously, like, a professor could be talking and then they randomly, raise their hand and they feel as if their opinion is a right to be heard type thing. And I think the biggest thing for me on that topic is we're so used to just knowing a hierarchy system when it comes to professor has authority, you are a student, just like there's a platoon sergeant, just like there is you and you listen. Everything seems to go well. And you get on here and everyone's just running into your lanes, like bumper cars. It isn't even like it's a real thing. Do y'all have anything to say on that y'all had to do with transit? Not necessarily that topic, but any transitioning from military to university life that's just difficult for veterans?
I mean, I was fortunate in the beginning that I was kind of warned about these things, like before maybe like the first few weeks of classes. And then it was I forgot who it was, but it's like, yeah, it's not okay to yell at people in class, And then so, yeah, so I'm like, okay, I didn't really know what they meant by that. And then, when I first few weeks of classes, I'm like, okay, I see what they mean. Like people like start talking, especially if it's like a big class, people have side conversations and stuff, and it makes it really hard to hear the professor sometimes. And,
you're like,
that happens.
Someone's talking, like,
yeah,
stop talking. But you're looked at as the bad guy for addressing a situation like that. And you're like, and then all of a sudden you're that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think another big thing that's a little struggle is that we're all older. Like I just turned 25 this week and I'm in class with 8-year-olds, and just the conversations that come up, sometimes you can't relate to it and you're just
Preach
like,
it.
we're irrelevant talking about this in class.
Yeah, preach it.
Like just trying to integrate yourself back into that mindset and kind of help them out as well with your like expertise and wisdom from life. Not that we're like super wise.
So much older is like, are you serious? You're only like 5
I'm not even old.
No, seriously. We're not old.
No, like I live
with
19-year-olds because my sister and her friend, I live with them. And it's just like a very different mindsets. So they help stay grounded.
Well, that moves me on. I'm just curious, so I've learned a lot about all the organizations and resources there are here. Are there any like off-campus resources for maybe veterans that don't come here that can utilize services from A&M or from y'all? Yeah, so actually one of them, they deal with a lot of veterans that have PTSD, just like equine therapy. I don't know if I said that right. Equine, horse therapy, It's called Courtney Cares, and it's for any families. And I used to go for a little bit, but recently I haven't had time, but they're running up again. And it's just a great opportunity for you to be able to like spend time with some horses and other veterans. And it's very therapeutic, You're like doing the horse's hoof and like brushing them. And I don't know, they're like such huge animals, but it's very therapeutic.
So majestic in nature. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's super unique. I didn't know about that. So that's super cool.
I think do they use Parsons? Do they partner with Parsons?
Mounted Cavalry is out there. They use the chorus horses as well. And I think the Marine officers that helps run the Corps, he actually is out there as well all the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's stellar.
Yeah, I hope to one day own a few horses on a ranch. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be awesome. Build a nice studio on a piece of land and not have to work for anybody.
Yeah.
But another besides that is like the American Legion is very active in Bryan, and they're very helpful. They always are. Jerry Hines, she's like a super sweet older lady that has she had her career in the Army back in the day, and
Mhm.
she's she has so many connections, and she's always willing to help out SVA and student veterans on campus. Every week she like emails me and is like, how can I help? So they're very helpful as well.
Nice.
Yeah. American Legion's a pretty unique and cool organization as well. My dad's a part of that, and I was part of the Sons of American Legion for a little bit. They do stuff like cook steaks for veterans on Sundays and stuff like that at the different chapters and posts they have. So that's really great.
Sometimes different there as well.
Yeah. Well, I know I asked. Go ahead.
I said like the Super Bowl. Go ahead.
Well, I already asked Robert what his plans were for after graduation. But what about you, Ashlyn? What do you plan on doing once you finish everything up and move on from A&M?
Yeah, that is a magic question. So I have so many options in my head, but I'm wanting to go in international affairs and public relations field. I'm not sure like with which company. I'm from North Texas, so Lockheed Martin is there, and that would be a big company that I'd love to work for. But outside of that, I'm also interested in possibly going to officer candidacy school for the Air Force and staying in the Air National Guard here in Texas.
Awesome.
Those are definitely some good options with that. The field you're wanting to go in, have you ever been interested in like getting involved into like public office, politics, stuff like that?
Maybe. I don't know. I've thought about that. I actually interned this summer in DC. It was supposed to be in DC. And I met a lot of people that are into politics and international affairs. And it's definitely something that piqued my interest. So maybe like more of a local office than like nationally in DC, but definitely maybe in Texas someday.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah.
That'd be really awesome. Robert, do you want to elaborate on what you're doing after graduation just one more time?
Oh, well, I have a general plan, which is work, retire early, and then maybe open up like a coffee shop or bakery somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
You want to do yeah, man. Oh,
so that's like
business.
that's further down the line.
Let's go.
But as far as immediately after graduation, I'm thinking about like right now I kind of work in like advisory consulting, where it's like project based mostly. And just talking to a bunch of different people and learning things, because I always need to be learning something, because it's kind of what keeps me motivated and keeps things interesting for me. So,
all right, guys. Well, we definitely don't want to cut y'all short by any means. Is there anything from SVA to VALOR, a message you want to bring to the student veteran community? Because this is going to go as far as we push it. This video is going to go. It has the potential to go as far as the shares and likes will go. That's kind of like how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. Right now during like COVID and this virtual setting, just if you're struggling, reach out and we'll help you navigate the different resources that we have and things that we can help you with. I know it's hard, especially Zooms after Zooms every day. So just having like a time to recharge, or I know that we have like Team Red, White, and Blue, different things like that where you can work out with other veterans and keep your mental health, healthy. So we're here for y'all, all the veterans, their families, dependents.
Literally anything. And if we don't have if they don't have the resources, that is, they reach the people who do. That's the biggest part. I think it's very important.
Yeah, that's another thing with a huge network out here, especially the Aggie network in general. There's always somebody. If there's something that you need, somebody is probably doing it, and then if there isn't, we'll probably make it.
Yeah, happen. And I know that Colonel Smith, he runs the VRSC, him and Don Freeman, they're always willing to help you out. They go the extra mile for sure.
Oh yeah.
And to any of our viewers watching, veteran wise, if you're going through a rough time too, feel free, if you go to our Facebook page, I think there's a click and send an email button. Feel free to reach out to us too. We can,
we'll definitely link you straight to the resources that we know, to the Veterans Resource Centers, the other different nonprofit organizations we know about. Absolutely.
There's so many in the Brazos Valley, so someone can help.
Yeah. There really is. So I have a secret fun question for
Oh, God.
y'all. This is a burning question. Every single Aggie has in their heart and has a super biased opinion on. People get in fights at Thanksgiving for this question. So let's go with it. Ashlyn and Robert, antiqued or natural? Go.
Oh, antiques, baby.
Oh, man.
I think I'll have to go with antique too.
You have to go with antiqued?
I
Go.
mean, it just looks cooler, you know?
I'm a natural guy.
Oh.
Just
They antique over time, man.
out. I think most of my antiquing is like gone now. I don't know if you can see that, but
So it's natural.
lotion over the summer. Now it's natural, I guess.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming on the NK Pod. Is there any closing comments you have for them?
Hey, once again, I really appreciate it. This has been super informative. It's been a great time getting to know you both better. And I really can't thank you enough for coming on our podcast. I'm super excited to see the reach this goes and the people we can reach for this. And hopefully we can get some more people that have been kind of on the edge to joining y'all's organizations or other organizations around the states with other universities to make that plunge and go for it. Yeah, for sure. I thank y'all again, guys. It's been a pleasure, and just wow. This was really great.
Thank
This
y'all.
is awesome. Thank y'all for coming in at 8 a.m. in the busy schedules. I know Ashley's like, I really got to get up at 6 o'clock to start doing my hair.
No, dude, I got up 15 minutes
Where's
to
the
check.
curling iron?
Yeah, I spent a little time on my hair this morning. It wasn't looking like this. It was...
Right.
All right. You have a great day.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all too.
Have a good
Thank
one,
y'all
guys.
so much.